Let's go, guys. All right. Finally getting to the end of our Rugby Beginners Masterclass. This is probably the most exciting one, the most exciting module, because we can finally go over how we're going to prepare for your first rugby match. All right. So, in this module, we'll talk about our pregame preparation, everything that goes into the days leading up to the game. We'll go over game day routine, what we want to do the morning of, how do we establish our pregame rituals. We'll talk about handling pressure and nerves, what our game day expectations are, what do we do after the game to best recover for starting up training again next week, and to think of preparing our body for the next week's game as soon as that first match is over. We're going to finish by reviewing your performance. So game isn't over just because the game ends, just because the last whistle blows. We still need to identify what could have gone better, what we can do better individually, what opportunities did we miss, what are our highlights of the game, right? So there's a lot to take away in reviewing your performance, all right? So let's start out with our pregame preparation. First, we need extreme clarity on your role. What is your role on the field? Are you a forward? Are you going to be playing point, catching the ball, take the ball into contact? Are you going to be like the plus or the minus, the tips guy? Should you be expecting to run sharp lines, prepared for clear outs? Know your role. Same goes for backs. Or do we want to kind of play in terms of, do we need to prepare for this team specifically, or do we want to play our game? Are there things that we want to work on? On top of this, we need to clarify any misunderstandings. So maybe you're not clear on your set piece. What's our role on our set piece? Maybe we're confused with our pattern. There's a lot of different patterns that we'll get into the intermediate masterclass, but we have a 1-3-3-1, a 1-3-2-2, a 2-4-2. There's a lot of different patterns that we can run with advantages and disadvantages to each of them. Do we have any misunderstandings on our defensive roles? Do we know how to set post, pillar, ABC, 1, 2, 3? No. Sounds elementary, but those are terms that teams I've played on use. Anyways, first thing that we can clearly address is 48 hours prior to the game. We need plenty of sleep. We need to make sure we're recovering properly. You just had training Tuesday, Thursday. You probably had 2 or 3 gym sessions a week. You probably had skill sessions in there and maybe a conditioning session. So how do we recover best? Sleep is the closest thing you can get to taking steroids without taking steroids. Get 8.5 or more hours of sleep. I would really say push it to 9 or more. Currently, I use a Whoop. Tells me exactly how much sleep I need to get every single night based on my strain or my activity for the day. And it's a really helpful tool to tell me, number one, take yourself to bed when it's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And also gives me an idea of how well I'm going to recover that next day, how prepared I am the next day for a match. 24 hours prior, we need to start hydrating. Hydration doesn't just mean water. We also need to consider electrolytes. Salt is going to be one of them. I would highly recommend straight up eating salt game day. And that has to do with a lot of water retention, fluid retention. And you also have other electrolytes, including potassium, magnesium, calcium, and sodium. Those are your core 4. The night before your game, we need to be setting out all of our rugby equipment for game day. So there's not a moment of frantic stress, panic, or anything, wondering where my cleats are, where my socks are, where my shorts are, any of that stuff. So I made a whole list there that you can consider packing into your bag the night before so that you can just wake up, stay focused, get your breakfast in, and be prepared for your first match. So we want to limit the stress, and we want to make sure that all your attention is focused on the game ahead of you. Now we need to talk about creating your game day routine. This is my recommendation on what we might want to be doing, but you can obviously tailor this to your own individual experience. When it comes to breakfast, obviously eat foods that settle well in your stomach. We don't want to try anything new on game day that would otherwise make you feel sick, or literally anything that would otherwise distract you from playing the game that's coming up in less than 8 hours. So my recommendations are: number one, wake up at the same time every Saturday morning. Should really be doing this every day, period, for reasons when it comes to sleep and the circadian rhythm that I'm not going to bore you with. But wake up at the same time every Saturday morning so you know exactly how much time you have to run through your game day routine. You're going to wake up less groggy. You'll wake up more focused. I could go down the list of all the reasons why we want to be waking up at the same time every Saturday morning. And on top of this, I would really consider getting some morning sunlight. That's what I do every single morning. I wake up, get a protein shake, go straight outside, sit outside in the sun while I'm drinking a protein shake. After that, decide what your game day breakfast is going to be. I don't care specifically what you eat, as long as it's moderate protein, high carbs, and low fats. So we want some source of protein in there. Carbs are going to be used for energy, and the fats, you could argue low to moderate fats, because fats can kind of delay the speed of digestion in your system, and therefore kind of prolong the energy sustain. But otherwise, just eat what settles well in your stomach. This isn't the time to have sushi for breakfast, or just don't get out of pocket with it. Following this, we've got to show up to the pitch 90 minutes before kickoff. That way we know exactly what we're working with. We can, walk through the field, look for any holes or literally in the pitch, divots in the pitch. We can look for the slope of the pitch. What's the width of the pitch? And be familiar with what we're about to be playing in. On top of this, you can get your headphones on, you can lock in, you can focus on whatever you need to focus on to get yourself in the right mental state to prepare for your game. And if we show up 90 minutes prior, that means we have alone time to our individual selves before we come together as a team for warm-ups. So I would highly recommend at least 90 minutes before the game. I've even been in the position that, there's one game that I played in 15s last year that I showed up to the pitch and I went to the wrong location, and I was so ready to just shoot myself. I was so mad, and I got just enough time to make it to the correct pitch with maybe 15 minutes until kickoff. So I literally showed up in the middle of warm-ups. I was frustrated. I could tell my teammates were frustrated. I was not focused, and I made mistakes that game, and that was the one time that's ever happened to me, and that's the only time that'll ever happen to me, because I won't let that happen again. So listen and learn from my experience. Don't be an idiot like me. Make sure you got the right location with the right time. And had I not shown up 90 minutes before kickoff, I wouldn't have had time to then drive another hour to the correct location and actually make it before kickoff. Anyways, once you're at the pitch and you're there nice and early at the correct location, you're going to greet your coaches, greet your teammates. I think it's important to establish early communication, because the worst thing you can do when you're on the pitch is still stay quiet. So why not share some energy, exchange some energy with your teammates, with your coaches, get a feel for how everyone's feeling and how you need to accommodate the people around you. So sometimes if they're feeling quiet, maybe we need to talk a little bit more, get them out of their shell, get them up and moving, get them in the right mental state. We can have an impact on the people around us that can elevate our team culture and our team performance for the day. After this, get your individual stretches, get your individual warm-ups, get your skills in. You know what you need. There are tons of resources that you can use in our school community that can tell you what stretches, what skills And I would highly recommend using them, especially as a beginner. You maybe don't know exactly what you need to be working on. So you go to your resources, you look at what the forwards are working on for your game day warmups, and you work on your individual position warmups. Hookers should be hitting their lineouts. Jumpers should be jumping. Kickers should be kicking. You name it. And this is a time that we can work on things that we might not be confident in. If our fullback is struggling with his open field tackles because he missed a lot last game, then maybe we should double down in our warmups, get some open field tackles, get some tackle tracking, get practice like swiping the stiff arm and going in for the tackle. Do what you need to do in order to prepare for this match. So at this point, we should probably be about 20 to 30 minutes before kickoff. We're getting ready for the team warm-up. This is the time to lock in. This is the time to focus. This is the time that nothing else matters other than what's to come in 20 to 30 minutes. Get yourself in the right mental state. You have your music, you have your teammates, you have all this energy all around you, probably inside of you, probably like a lot of nerves, a lot of excitement. And this is the moment that we need to focus up. So I have words that I say to myself before I step onto the pitch every single time I go to a game. And these are words that I only use for that moment so that I know that I'm locked in, ready to go whenever that first whistle blows. So consider creating that for yourself. Do what works for you. You know yourself better than anybody else. And if you don't have a routine, try this, see if it works, adjust it as you need to, because as you keep experimenting and trying different things, you'll notice you get different results. And the games that you play your best and you have the best outcome, you play well, your team plays well, you feel good, we need to replicate that as often as we can. The best way in replicating that is through routine. The routine can guarantee that we get into that mental state that we're looking to tap into. So this is your moment to lock in. On to handling pressure and nerves. This is a fun one to talk about because it's all mental. There's a lot of conversation online about how your internal being is your reality, right? I don't mean to get too spiritual on us, but I think it has some translation into what we're about to talk about. Because whatever we believe is going on around us, the way we're interpreting things, we're interpreting what people say, it is a reflection of our internal state, and it will then be a reflection in our reality. Okay? So when it comes to pressure and nerves are anxiety, right? On the other side of anxiety is excitement. Anxiety and excitement are the same emotion, but they are interpreted differently to who is experiencing it. If you ask Olympians, track runners, swimmers, whoever, I don't care. If you ask them how they're feeling before the game, a lot of them are feeling excited. A lot of them might also feel nervous. Like I said, this is the same emotion, but one is viewed positively, one is viewed negatively. One is based in trust, one is based in fear. Ask yourself in the moments that you're feeling nerves and you're feeling pressure, where are your emotions stemming from? And this is where we can take in our mindset shift. If we are afraid of making mistakes playing our first rugby match, then you're going to beat yourself up. You're going to say negative things to yourself internally. Your thoughts will be negative. You will think that other people are thinking negatively of you as well. You might be right and you might be wrong. But regardless, whether you're right or wrong or not, it doesn't serve you to think, oh, I dropped the ball, so my captain thinks I'm a terrible player. He might not be thinking that, he might, but you don't know what other people are thinking. So why use thoughts that don't serve you? You might as well just expect the mistake and allow yourself to make that mistake. And then it's that much easier to flush it. It's that much easier to move on. With this, we need to celebrate the wins. And wins, when it comes to anything at the fundamental level, when we're a beginner, we need to get some sort of reward. And a lot of the rewards aren't going to come from other people. They need to come from ourselves. And if you reward yourself for doing the little things, even if it's a little win, I caught a ball and I made one good pass today. That's a win to celebrate. And the more wins you can stack in a given moment, in a given game, in a given day, the more likely you are to be happy with your performance. And you can recognize what you're doing well. And when you recognize what you're doing well, it's a lot easier to take in what you're struggling with, because you can see both sides now. You're not just focused on the negative. You're not just delusional in the positive. You have a grasp of reality that is happening around you, and you can better receive feedback. You can receive constructive criticism. So all of this comes with a mindset shift from the negative to a positive. And it's putting it into words sounds way simpler than it is, but it's necessary to figure out how you're going to do that on your own. And it starts with how you speak to yourself. It starts with, how do you react to these moments? How do you react to the low moments? How do you react to the high moments? How do you react to the people around you? We choose our reactions. We choose these moments, and we can choose to make them good and positive and serve us. All right, beyond everything that I just talked about with all the spiritual talk and all that stuff, we need to play the game to the best of your abilities. Like I said, like, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to mess up, and that's okay. That's okay. The world's still going to go on. Life is still going to go on. Don't trip. So focus on what we can control. We can't control the outcome. We can't always control whether that pass goes to hand. We can give the most perfect pass and it is still going to get dropped. So if we expect that and instead focus on the effort that goes into delivering a good pass rather than the outcome of whether it was caught or not, then we can better tailor our mental state and shift it into everything that's controllable instead of anything that isn't controllable. We can't control other people. We can't control the outcome, but we can control ourselves. We can control our attitude. We can control our effort. We can influence people, but we can't control them. We need to turn our jitters into excitement. And I already touched on this, but jitters, anxiety, nervousness, pressure, it's all the same. It's all the same. It's literally, don't overthink it. It's either positive or it's negative. It's one or the other. Make it black or white. You can get more detailed. Like, I know there's a lot of grays in this world, but make it black or white and just recognize that it's negative. Recognize that it's not serving you. Turn it to an excitement. Literally say, like, you feel that butterfly in your stomach and you're like, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, you have to get that energy. That energy has to go somewhere. It has to go somewhere, and don't let it consume you. Trust yourself. Trust your teammates. I think for a lot of rugby players, their first game, they're not certain on where to go, what position to be in, whether they're going to make the right decision, whether they're going to make that tackle. You just got to trust yourself. Trust that it's going to work out. Trust that you're capable. You are capable of this. Don't make it a bigger deal than it is. don't rely on other people too heavily. And in the moments that your teammates are telling you something to do, they probably see something that you don't. Those are moments that you can trust them. Give them the opportunity to lead you. And in the moments that you don't hear those voices, those are the moments that we need to trust ourselves. So trust yourself, trust your teammates, and trust that the pressure is going to fade. First touch of the ball, you might be nervous with ball in hand. First tackle, might be a little nervous. But once you're past the first to go, you're fine. You got 79 more minutes of play, and you're going to stop thinking about it because there's no time to think about it. There's no time to think about how you feel. You're going to get over it. So the quicker that you can make that shift, the better. On to post-game recovery. Very simple. We only got 5 points here to make, and you need to hit these 5 points. Honestly, not after just games, but also practice too. After your training, after your gym sessions, after your field sessions, you need to get all of this. The better we recover, the more prepared we are for the next game, the next training session. So the most important training session is the next one. Think of it that way. The most important session, the most important game is the next one. And that's the mindset I would implore you to take on, because then getting this post-game recovery is easy. Number one, we need to hydrate. Hydrate includes water. Hydrate includes electrolytes. Get your Gatorade. Get your milk. Chocolate milk is good. Plenty of carbs. Get your electrolytes in. Get salt in. Some more salt, seriously. Get all of that in. Drink tons and tons and tons and tons of water. We need to refuel. We need to make sure, so, you just played 80 minutes of a bunch of car crashes over and over and over, right? You just experienced a 30 mile an hour wreck probably 50 times within 80 minutes. So we need to refuel. Your body is beat up, your shoulders are beat up, your knees are beat up, your ankles are beat up, and we need to give our body proper nutrients that it needs to recover. This is high carbs, low fats, high protein. Fats are going to delay the digestion, so we need protein for your muscles. Protein and carbs for your muscles. They're both going to fuel your muscles. The carbs are going to replenish the glycogen in your body. All right. A bunch of science crap that you probably don't care about. All you need to know is eat a ton of food with low fats. On top of that, dude, just eat a ton of food. I don't care. I don't care what you eat. Just eat a ton and ton and ton and ton of food. You can stretch if you're the type to stretch. Anything that allows you to relax. I have a contrarian view to a lot of my teammates when it comes to stretching. I am going to be careful about what I say and just say that stretching is good to help you relax. And the better that you can relax, the quicker you can switch from fight or flight to rest and digest. And the longer we can be in that rest and digest state, or your parasympathetic state, then the sooner your body can begin to recover and repair and rejuvenate. So we need to relax. You need to relax after the game. This includes take a nap if you need to. Do some light activity if you need to, like walk. You don't need to go work out. You can do mobility work. You can go for a swim. Do something relaxing. On top of this, you don't need to ignore the post-game social. You don't need to hold back. If you haven't experienced your first post-game social, you're going to find out. Take it as it comes. Have fun. Enjoy your time. You've earned it. This is your chance to build some chemistry, some friendship with your teammates. You can reflect on the game with them. So don't feel like you need to be high-strung when it comes to the post-game social. Enjoy your time with your teammates and just focus on as soon as that next morning comes around, do what you need to do to recover from that hangover that's coming. So at this point, the weekend's come and gone. We're probably, Saturday night or Sunday at this point, and it's time to review your performance. Remember, I talked about trusting yourself. We want to build confidence in our self-analysis. And there is going to be a discrepancy between what you think good rugby is and what good rugby actually is. But it's a muscle that we need to grow. So regardless of where you're at in your career, you need to self-analyze. This means recognizing your strengths and weaknesses equally. So we're not just looking at what our highlight moments are. We're not just trying to blow up our ego, saying that we're the best on the pitch. It's not about that. It's about recognizing what we're doing in our role that is benefiting the team and what is hurting the team. Where am I a liability? How many tackles did I miss? Why did I miss a tackle? Was it because I was afraid because he's bigger than me and I don't want to get hurt? Or did I send it full speed and big guy's going to be a big guy and sometimes they just run you over? So then we can take a look at our technique. Is it mental based? Is it tactical based? Is it skill based? Identify what your strengths and weaknesses are from that game. We need to apply them into next week's work-ons. So when it comes to those individual skills, when you show up 30 minutes early to practice, this is what we need to spend our time on so that we can guarantee that that mistake isn't going to happen again in the next match. And if everyone did that and was perfect at it and actually didn't make that same mistake in the next match, you know how good you would be so fast? Obviously, it doesn't happen that way. You're still going to make mistakes. But the point is, we need to delay the time that you recognize you make a mistake. We need to delay that time that we see a change in your behavior. We see a change in your performance. And the quicker that we do that, the less time we have in between those moments, that is when you can take each and every step to becoming the best player that you can possibly be as fast as possible. From here, we want to make sure that we're getting valid feedback. We want to make sure that we have high quality feedback. And this is what I mean by thinking or recognizing what we know is limited, but what a coach might know who's been coaching for 10 or 15 years. And, ultimately he knows what he's looking for in your team. He can be a trusted source. A team leader can be a trusted source of feedback. So we know exactly what we need to work on. We know exactly what our strengths are. And we can take that and carry it into our next week's work-ons. So if we found that we're struggling with our tackling, but our coach and our team leaders think maybe we need to work on our offloads a little bit better, maybe our clear outs in the ruck need to be a little bit better, then these are trusted people that we can consider taking feedback from, rather than taking feedback from someone who might not know as much as you do. So I would really take that into consideration, who we're getting our feedback from. Congratulations. You made it to the end of Module 4. You made it to the end of the Beginner's Masterclass. And that is so awesome, because now I know that I can trust and truly believe that you're the type of player who wants to improve, who wants to make select side matches. You want to make academy rosters. Maybe you have aspirations to play professionally. Wherever you're at, even if you just want to be a first team starter, wherever you're at, you're going to get there if you stay consistent and you persist through every single obstacle. Every time you overcome one obstacle and find the solution to that obstacle, there's going to be another one that comes up. This is a never-ending game. This is all part of rugby. You could say this is part of life. This is part of business. You name it. You solve one problem and 3 new problems appear. And that's part of the game. that's necessary. So congratulations. You have completed your first step in identifying what you don't know and taking you to what you need to know. You have the foundation for a well-rounded rugby career based on everything that you just saw. So it's time to take action. Number one, if you found this helpful, please let me know. Please create a post. Please DM me. Please share this with a couple of teammates, with your coaches, with your friends. Let me know what you found helpful, because that makes everything I do, all the time and effort and energy that it takes out of me to create this for you, makes it all worth it. Because I just want to know that I'm having a positive impact on people who I was in your shoes when I was 14, and I wish something like this was around. Take action. Prepare for your game day to the best of your ability by asking questions. Ask questions to your coaches, to your teammates, to me, to our community. You have so many people. You have an entire network that you can reach out to. Number two, create a game day routine. Create a post-game routine. You have examples of both of those that you can use in our slides here, but make it specific to you. You know what works for you. At the end of the day, what works for me isn't going to work for everybody. And the sooner you find your own solutions to your problems, the sooner you can self-analyze, self-identify all of these things. And it's a muscle that needs trained. So this is your first opportunity to take what I've created for you and make it yours. Lastly, take every opportunity to identify how you can improve for the next match. This is a game of self-development. And in self-development, this is our daily homework. So we need to keep getting better, and we do it in a way that we recognize the good that we provide, but we're not satisfied because we want more. So don't do it in a way that stems from not having confidence in yourself, but do it in a way that you know you're good, but you want to be great. You know you're great, but you want to be amazing. We're always taking those next steps. Don't settle. Don't be satisfied. Stay hungry and keep eating. That's all I have for you. If you guys have any questions, any suggestions for me, any feedback for me, please let me know. I want to make this as amazing as possible for you. And if you made it this far, I want you to DM me the word elite, and I will personally reward you with a secret gift. DM me the word elite. I guarantee there's only going to be like 10 of you that made it this far and see this message. Congratulations on being one of them. Congratulations on finishing the Beginner's Masterclass.